morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you're all doing well. It's currently 25 to 2 in the afternoon here in the UK. I'm not sure what time it is in Delphi right now. Have your clocks gone back? Ours went back last week, so it took us to just 4 hours time difference. And I think possibly you guys in the States have also put your clocks back now. So are we back to 5 hours behind? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even going to contemplate. But it'd be good to know because it then tells me when the Delphi trial is going to start. It's currently 7:30 in Texas, 8:36 in Indiana. Whereabouts in Indiana, though? So 8:37, 25 to 9. Yeah, so we're back to 5 hours. Don't do daylight anymore. Okay. 8:37 EST. Yeah, so we're back to 5 hours behind. Good to know. All right. So we got some gifted memberships right from the jump here. Let me see who's got them. Purple AJ, 20 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. We've got Profiling Manipulation, Joanne. Thank you, no. Tammy, Riley's Nanny, Sandra, Jen, Pam, Kelly, Akira, Pashabel, Michelle, great name. We got Cutley, Agatha, Lilu, Just a Girl, you used to know, Ben, Thunder Maiden, and Piney Woods. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much, Purple AJ, and enjoy your month's free membership. You guys. And Krista hopping in with a 19.99. Good morning to you. What do I think, Mr. Baldwin's question to Deliverance Guy? Brad Weber, you were out of town the week before. I don't know. Obviously, Baldwin has got some information that he wants to hit Weber with, but I don't know what it means. I have no idea. I am dying to find out, though. Thank you for the 19.99. I think we got some more super chats. Oh, we got Kimberly gifting 5 memberships. And we got Krista with another 19.99. One more question. Who put Richard Allen in prison? See so many different answers. It was Judge Dina who signed the safekeeping order. So Judge Dina was the one who put his signature on the order. Who decided to put him in Westville, though? I'm not sure. Who made that decision. Whether that would be Dina's decision. Like the idea behind the safekeeping order was that he wasn't going to be able to be kept safe in a county jail, that Carroll County Jail couldn't accommodate him, and they felt it would be better to put him in a prison environment. And then Dina promptly recused himself from the entire case. Richard Allen had no lawyers at that time. So whoever made that decision, it was all done behind closed doors. And I don't know who decided on Westville. Well, was it the Attorney General? Because apparently it was the Attorney General who decided to swap him from Westville to Wabash, but he'd already been in Westville for 13 months at that time. So these are good questions, Krista, and I honestly can't answer you. But I do know it was Judge Dina, like his last day on the case, he signed that safekeeping order. Let's see if we can find out who got Kimberly's gifted memberships. Let's have a see. You've got to scroll up. I might not be able to find them now. Oh, yeah. Here we go. All right, so we got Marianne, Rhonda, Rock and Roller. We got Bunny and Lisa. So welcome. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Purple AJ, and thank you, Krista, for the donations. Very, very kind. All right, without further ado, you can't remember why. He said he was getting threats. He said that he had a family and people out there be crazy, and he basically didn't feel safe. That's why he recused himself. Shane Evans. No, it was Judge Gull. Oh, yeah, Shane Evans has now replaced Judge Dina as Carroll County Judge. Yeah, that's right. But that's nothing to do with this case. Because once Judge Dina recused himself, then that's how Judge Gull got it, because she was just appointed as the special judge. But yeah, you're right that Judge Dina is no longer the judge of Carroll County. But that's quite a recent occurrence that he's, I don't know what he's doing now. But yeah, Shane Evans. Attorney, all right, okay, so the Attorney General, according to Google. All right. So, all right. Look, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you will know that I'm deeply troubled by a timeline that doesn't make sense. And Libby's phone data should have given us a fairly clear timeline of the movements of that phone. But it doesn't. And that troubles me. That deeply, deeply troubles me. You may be right, Dina knew it was corrupt, yeah. Yeah, maybe Dina didn't agree and thought, no, I can't deal with this. Maybe he wasn't scared of the people out there. Maybe he was scared of the people in there. Who knows? All right. So if you saw my video yesterday, you will know that I spent some time going through what had been said about Libby's phone data. So last week, it was day 5 of the trial, so more than a week ago now. The phone data was gone through with a fine-tooth comb. There have been several extractions from Libby's phone. Chris Cecil has done the most recent one. I think there was one done in 2017 that wasn't Cecil. And then they realised they could get more information from it. So they did another extraction in 2019 to investigate the Knowledge C database, which nobody realised existed until that point. The Knowledge C database kind of tells you when the phone was opened, what apps were accessed, all of that stuff, the stuff that goes on in the background. And it doesn't keep a constant, like, permanent record of all of that stuff. So you can only get a certain amount of information from the Knowledge C database. But on iPhones, one feature that they have that you actually can't delete, like you can hide your app, but you can't delete the way it's doing it, is the Apple Health data. And it's the Apple Health data that has become the bane of my existence because I keep going over it and over and over and over it. So in my video yesterday, I presented this. So this information, and I got the map up. So I've done some more work on this. So I want to show you what I've done. because it still doesn't make sense to me. I've also tried to accommodate some of the things that people said to me in the comments of that video. So I'm going to quickly run through what I did yesterday, but I want to focus on what I've been doing this morning, just to see if anybody's got any more clues, any more ideas as to how this timeline could possibly work. And it doesn't help that everybody seems to have heard something a little bit different, because the information that I based yesterday's video on was Lawyer Lee's timeline. So she's basically put together a timeline of kind of everything, like fit it together chronologically. And that part of that's the phone data, but it's a generic timeline. And I really like it. I really like it. So I based the information from yesterday's video on Lawyer Lee, but I thought, what did other people hear? So I've gone back and listened to that portion. It's only a very, very small portion of testimony from Andrea Burkhart, Bob from Defense Diaries, and there's also Yellow Jacket from Twitter. She's got a timeline as well. So I've got them all together to see whether we've got agreement. Like, and it seems that people have heard slightly different things, which doesn't help. And I don't think that anybody's being deliberately, trying to deliberately pull the wool over anyone's eyes. I think it's because in that courtroom, everybody who's in there is struggling to hear. So people are trying to help each other, like fill in blanks and, ask each other, what did you hear and what did you hear, to make sure that their notes are accurate. But I think possibly some of the inconsistencies have come in, and they're only small inconsistencies, but I wanted to try to be as accurate as possible, because this doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And it's deeply unsettling and troubling to me that it doesn't make sense. And it frustrates the hell out of me that we're never going to be able to know. Judge Gull has said that she's not even going to release the audio from the trial. Whether we'll get a transcript, but people paying for transcripts, like this is a month-long trial. People paying for a transcript from just one hearing is bad enough, but I don't know. Maybe at some point a transcript will be made available. I mean, technically, they should just release everything. They should release all the discovery and everything. Technically, they should do that. Like, after the trial, they should do that. Will it ever get... I don't know. I don't know. Michelle has an accent because she's from the UK. We all have accents. Everybody's got accents. Yeah, Britain has got many dialects and accents. Yeah, I've got a Lancashire accent. So if you're struggling to understand my accent, I don't know what to tell you. I struggle to understand Geordie sometimes. My auntie, her dad was from Glasgow in Scotland, and he had a terribly difficult accent to understand. I couldn't understand a word of what Matt was telling me. So I'm sorry if you don't understand my accent. I can't help you, because I ain't gonna change it. I ain't gonna change it. All right. Okay, so I'll quickly run through what I did yesterday, and then I'm going to show you what I've done today. Incorporating the new stuff. All right, so this is just a brief timeline that Wish TV put on their blog. So Wish TV and WTHR are both doing blog posts. So every session they write up what they've found, what they've heard in court. So Wish TV doesn't say anything about the movements of the phone, except for the last recorded movement of it was at 2:32 and some seconds. So I then started digging, and this is from WTHR. Using the phone's health app, Cecil said he determined the girls walked about 700 metres between 1:31 p.m. and 2:08 p.m. And then they said nothing else. So where they went, what happened, how many meters, I don't even know why it's in meters, because the US doesn't use meters, do they? Like we use meters here, and I have to convert stuff. Like I'm old school. I'm old school. I use feet, yards, and inches. Even though I was taught centimeters and meters and kilometers at school, I still can't deal with it. I still have to do the conversion. I don't know why, but anyway, I can visualize an inch, a foot, and a yard. But apparently a meter is just over 39 inches. So it's 3.3 feet. All right. But I don't know why these are in meters. Don't know why they've measured it in meters. But that's all WTHR reported. That between 1:31 and 2:08, they walked about 700 meters. And then the phone stopped moving. They've got the same timeline as Wish TV. And the phone stopped moving at 2:32 and 39 seconds. A to Z, been a member for 5 months. The presser after his arrest was egregious. Yeah, it was. Like, we know that now. Now, Lawyer Lee, her timeline, she was much clearer and gave a much fuller account. So this is where I took my measurements from yesterday. All right. And I've done a handy dandy. Do you like that? I love that. You won't believe how long that took me to do. These measurements here are based on Lawyer Lee. All right. So between 1:31 and 2:08, around 700 meters was walked. All right, and don't worry, I'll map this. I've mapped this all out, so I'm going to show you that in a minute. Thank you, A to Z, for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much. We've got Melanie, Claire, Mary, Bad Girl, and Miss Always Right. It's some great names. Welcome, and thank you so much, A to Z. Thank you. All right. Now, this is the one that I couldn't understand. This one has done my head in. This one's done my head in. So between 2:08 and 2:25, according to Lawyer Lee, the phone walked about 414 meters, which is nearly half a kilometer. That's a fair distance. Then between 2:25 and 2:31, the phone walked about 50 meters, which is akin to 68 steps. And then at between 2:31 and 2:32, the phone registers 2 floors climbed, which is akin to about 20 feet. So if you saw my video from a couple of weeks ago, I walked about in the woods, going up hills and trying to determine what an iPhone would register. So it has to be an incline. It won't register going down. So it's not the down the hill. Some people have said, oh, So at 231 to 232, that's when they went down the hill. No, try it. If you've got an iPhone, try it. Like, walk up and down your stairs if you've got them, or go and find a hill. It has to be a reasonably steep hill for it to register anything. Like a very shallow incline, it ain't going to register. It has to be able to recognize that phone is going up an incline. So it has to be quite a steep, like stairs. All right. So one floor incline is about 10 feet approximately, according to Apple. If you like look on Apple Help. So 2 floors would be approximately 20 feet. And it'd have to be reasonably steep for it to register a floor at all. But it won't register going down. Look, try it. I walked up hills, down hills, and not at all. It did not measure any downward motion at all. So no, the people who were saying 231 to 232 was when they went down the hill. No, it wasn't. That's going up a hill. And I don't understand where there's a 20-foot incline. Okay. All right. So that's what I talked about yesterday. But like I said, I've gone to Andrea, I've gone to Bob from Defense Diaries, and also I've got a timeline from Yellow Jacket, who posted it on Twitter. So we're going to play the new stuff in a second, right? Because they're almost the same, but not quite. So everybody's heard something a little bit different. All right. Okay, so this is the map. All right, so I've put all the measurements in. So again, we're going off Loyalty's timeline for now. So between 131 and 208, the girls walked around 700 meters. So where's 700 meters? How far is that? All right, well, that makes complete sense. Now, I don't know why Chris Cecil started at 131. Presumably, the phone kicked into some movement. Maybe Libby had a phone. Actually, I think on Yellow Jacket's timeline. Hold on. Where is it? There it is. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So 1201 to 131, no movement on the phone. Okay. So at 131, this is when the steps start kicking in. So this must be, I think, when Libby picked up her phone to set off. Okay. So between 131 and 208, Yellow Jacket has got the number of steps. And both Andrea and Bob also recorded the number of steps. And they're all the same. 1,682 steps, which is akin to 707 meters. Okay. All right. So we're all agreed. Where's my map gone? We're all agreed that they walked around 700 meters up to 208. So some of that movement would have been Libby leaving her house and getting in Kelsey's vehicle. So we got to just bear that in mind. Yeah, 707 meters walked, yeah. So I can only do this approximately because the girls probably didn't walk in a dead straight line. And also this path meanders somewhat. So I've just done it in a straight line. Can you do a winding line? You might even be able to do a winding line. Hold on. Can you do a winding line? Oh, you can! Look, you can do a winding line. Hold on. Let me do this again then. Trouble is, though, you've got to have a really steady hand. Right. Hold on. I've not got a steady hand, but we'll give it a go. We'll give it a try. All right, so from there, look at this. Oh, we've got a bit of a bump there then. To about there. Oh, it's still recorded about the same. I'll save that anyway. So what's that? 583 meters. 583 meters. All right. Anyway, so from where Kelsey dropped them off, this area here, this little thing here is 70 meters. And then walking along here down to the bridge, and I measured it to about halfway along the bridge, is just shy of 600 meters. So 70, just shy of 600, you're looking at about 670 meters, 660, 670 meters, which makes absolute sense. It makes complete sense, because there would have been some movement registered as Libby left her house. It may have even registered some movement in the vehicle, because on a bumpy ride, it will believe that the phone is being walked, and it will register steps. And if it registers steps, then it'll try to register a distance as well. So if you're along, like when I used to work in Preston, and then I worked in Bolton, Northern Trains had these really old carriages. I think they've kind of phased them out now, but they were really old, and we used to call them the bone shakers. And they were that bumpy, like they had no suspension whatsoever. They were just really bumpy, and my phone would register steps. Even if I like sat down for the entire journey, it would register steps, because it just thought it was walking. And so, like a bumpy road, it would register some steps. If you're going over speed bumps or a gravel path, it's going to register some steps, and we can't account for that. We can't account for that. We just have no way of accounting for that. All right, we can only go off what we can measure. So that is about right. That makes absolute sense. Okay. Now we get to the confusing bit. So 208, they're approximately in the middle of the bridge, because there is a Snapchat photo taken at 207. Now, that's not available on Libby's phone. So Chris Cecil found it on the internet. But we've all seen the picture of Abby right in the middle of the bridge. Libby, Abby's walking in a southerly direction. Libby's ahead of her. She snaps a photo of Abby. We're told it's 207, but it's not on Libby's phone. So but the clothes that Abby's wearing are the clothes that she was wearing on that day. So why is it not on Libby's phone? I think I know the answer, but that's for another day. I'm not going to confuse matters. All right, so to 208, I've measured to the middle of the bridge. Then then we get a problem. Then we get a big problem. Where does 414 meters come from? Between 208 and 225, they've walked 414 meters. That's a fair distance. That's nearly half a kilometre, which is, I don't know, between a quarter and a third of a mile. Okay. Well, I can count for 120 of those meters, because from the middle of the bridge to the end of the bridge, and if you go on Google Earth and you turn it back to 2017, you get a better view of things. And you can see the very, very end of the southern end of the bridge right here. And then it turns into a path. So I've measured it to just off the end of the bridge. And that's 120 meters from the middle of the bridge, right at the middle of the bridge, to the end of the bridge. So basically where Libby was standing when she took the video, it's 120 meters. So take 120 off 414 and you get 294 meters. 294 meters. Where on earth did they go? Where on earth did they go? So somebody asked me in my comments, can I actually put on the map what 294 meters looks like as a possible direction of travel? Well, I don't know what direction they traveled in. So what I just did was a radius. So I took the southern end of the bridge as the middle point. And then I got Google Earth to measure 294 meters out in all directions. So the center point is the end of the bridge, the southern end of the bridge. So this is 294 meters, 294 meters, 294 meters. This is as far as 294 meters will take you if you just walk in a straight line in any direction. So you can get all the way back to the other side of the bridge. You can go all the way past the crime scene and you can be heading up Ron Logan's Hill. You can go all the way back to the very end of the Webber property. This is where the Webbers live. Or you could go all the way past this property and you can go all the way past this property. So that's what 294 meters. If you walked in a straight line, you could go to all of those places. We have no idea where these girls went. That's 294 meters, putting it in a visual. They could have gone anywhere. They could have gone anywhere. Then they could have been walked this way and put in a car. They could have been walked this way and put in a car. They could have been walked all the way to the backside of the Webber's property, not blaming Brad Webber for anything, but just have a look here. This was another comment somebody asked me to check out, so I did, and here. House, barn. Right at the back of the property, there's a barn. That's about 250 meters, a bit more. Just saying. Okay. All right. Then, PowerPoint. I hate showing my entire screen. It's so annoying. But I have to do it this way when I use Google Earth. The version of Google Earth that's not on the web, that's like stored on my computer. It's Google Earth Pro. It's got all the fixtures and fittings that I need. All right, then between 2:25 p.m. and 2:31 p.m., the phone walks another 50 meters or 68 steps. Then between 2:31 and 2:32, it climbs 2 floors and then it stops. At 2:32 and 39 seconds, I think, it stops and it doesn't move. It doesn't turn off. It doesn't turn off. It just stops moving. Now, that could mean it was turned off for a period of time. I don't know, but it certainly wasn't turned off completely because it was getting in text messages and stuff. So this is confusing, this is confusing, and this is confusing. Now, somebody said to me, and they're kind of half right, that if they were going down a hill, the steps, you know, when you're walking downhill and you're like trying to steady yourself, so you take really little steps, you take like really tiny steps. So maybe the phone thought they were going further than they actually were. That they were taking more steps because they were walking on like a steep decline. Okay, but down the hill, that hill is only about 30 foot high. And yes, it is steep. You'd be better going down on your, I go down on my butt. That's how I go down steep hills. I don't try to walk down them. I slide down them. Now, that wouldn't register any step. Like sliding down, I don't think would register any steps. It may register a few. I don't know. So I get that, but I don't think that explains 414 meters anywhere close. And then we've got another 50 meters between 2:25 to 2:31. So actually, between 2:08 and 2:31, we can explain 120 meters because that's going from the middle of the bridge to the end of the bridge. So we got 294. Well, actually, we've got 344 meters to account for because we have another 50 meters between 2:25 and 2:31. So 344 meters we've got to explain. Where did they go? Now, obviously, that's if they were just walking in a straight line. They may have been walking in a zigzag, so they go less distance, but, you know, they use more steps. We just don't know. And that, I can't cope with that. I can't cope with it. I can't cope with having known that this phone walked all of this way and then climbed 20 feet before it stopped moving. The reason this is a problem is because the crime scene isn't anywhere close to that far away. Okay, so let me zoom in. Let me zoom right in here. Let's zoom right into the end of the bridge. Okay. So we have a time point for Libby's video. We know she was standing here at 2:14. BG's, like if you believe in the BG video, if you believe in the BG video, BG's coming along here. All right, he's at the southern end of the bridge. He's more than halfway along. He's coming along here at 2:13. Libby's standing here at 2:14. Libby takes this video from here. All right, 2:14 p.m. Libby video. All right. So we've got a place where they were, 2:14. All right. So according to the state's timeline, thank you, Kindness Cake, for the $9.99. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So according to the state's theory, sometime between 2:14 and 2:31 or 2:32, when the phone stops moving, Brad Webber comes along, and the road to Brad Webber's house does go under the bridge, goes under the southern end of the bridge, and this is a hill going down. So I don't know that you're going to be able to see this, but right down at the bottom here, it says Eliv. Yeah, you can just about see it. It's just about at the bottom of the screen. So that's elevation above sea level. So we don't care how much it is above sea level. What we care is how much the elevation changes, because that tells us how much a landscape is changing, you know. Okay, so at the southern end of the bridge, right here, the elevation is 182 meters above sea level. So if you're told down the hill, you're assuming that you're going to go this way down here because the crime scene's here. So you're assuming that the killer is going to take them down here and across here, because this is shallow. Well, the entire creek's shallow. The entire creek's shallow. But up here, this is high. This is about, I don't know, 15, 20 feet high. This is like a cliff. As you go around this bend, this is easy. It's easy to get up the bank. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the state's timeline, the state's theory. And let's try and work out where all this missing distance has come from. Where does it fit? So elevation 182 meters. Right, so down the hill. All right, so we go down the hill. So we're going down. Just watch elevation. So it's 81, 80, 79, 78, 77, 76, 74, 72, 71. So we've gone down the hill. So that is down the hill. So down the hill is 11 meters. So from the southern end of the bridge down the hill is 11 meters, which is about, I don't know actually. 11 meters in feet, 36 feet. So they had to go 36 feet down. It's not very far. You can look on videos of people walking it. Yes, it's steep, but it's not a big hill. I'd have just gone down it on my arse. 36 feet down. All right. Okay. Then it's flat. It's flat. So from 171, it's virtually flat. I think this in days gone by, by days gone by, I mean like prehistoric times, this was an actual river. This carved out the valley. So what you're seeing now is just the remnants of probably a post Ice Age stream, large stream of water. So as the glaciation receded, all that water was released and it carved out big valleys. All right. So this is flat all the way to the creek. So again, watch it. It's neat. It's almost flat. So 171, 170. So it's 170. So it's gone down a little. 169. So we'll get to the edge of the creek, and then it drops about 6 feet. So 169, 170, and then go over the creek. So the creek bed's flat, 168 meters. So the creek bed's absolutely flat. And then we go up the other side. So going up the other side now to the crime scene, 170. All the way to the crime scene, 171. So from the creek bed to the crime scene, it's risen 3 meters. Why are they showing this in meters? I don't know. I don't know. I have to convert it as well. I don't know why Chris Cecil used meters. Google Earth uses meters. I guess that might be why he used meters. We don't know. We don't know. I have to convert it. So from the middle of the creek, 168 meters. So this is Google Earth's measurement. So you get out of the creek, you're still on 168, up to 170, and then to the middle of the crime scene, you're 171. So the crime scene itself is on a slight elevation. 1 meter isn't 2.5 feet. 1 meter is 3.3 feet. 1 meter is 39 inches. Well, about 39.2 inches. $300 meters, no, you're wrong. 300 meters isn't just over a mile. 1 kilometer is 0.6 miles. So 300 meters is not very far at all. So no, you're getting all that wrong. So 168 meters. No, so this is just the elevation above sea level. The numbers themselves don't matter. It's the elevation change that matters. So from 168 in the middle of the creek to 171 would be right in the middle of the crime scene. So to get out of the creek, you've got between a 3 and 6 foot banking, and then you've got a small elevation as you walk through the crime scene. And you can actually see that on the crime scene photos. Thank you, Pamela, for the $4.99. Thank you, thank you. I don't know whether you had a question. I'm just trying to go back. Having to back up and catch from the beginning. All right, I'll show you. I'll show you. Right. 1 meter. 1 meter is 3.28 feet. So 3.3 feet. Or 39.37 inches. Or 0.00621,371 miles. 300 meters is 0.186 miles. So 0.2 miles. So a fifth of a mile is 300 meters. Three meters in feet is 9.8 feet. 2 meters, 6.5 feet. So from the middle of the creek, which is flat, You get to the edge, and then you've got about a 6-foot climb. 6.5-foot climb from the middle of the creek to the beginning of the crime scene, and then it goes up another meter. And you can see this in the crime scene videos. I've got a crime scene video somewhere here. Can you see? It's on a slight incline. So it goes up about a meter, about 3 feet. So from the beginning of the crime scene, the crime scene begins like near the creek, and then you've got about a 3-foot incline as you walk through the crime scene. And then this hill at its highest is about 49 feet. This is quite steep, 49 feet up to the cemetery, or Ron Logan's house is up here, and the cemetery. So there's nowhere where there's a 20-foot incline. There's nowhere where there's a 20-foot incline. To get you 20 feet, the girls could have run away up the hill and then stopped before they reached the top. They could have done, yeah. But it's in the same minute that the phone stopped moving. And if you remember, the phone was under Abby's body. So that phone stopped moving and they were killed. Why is the incline in feet but everything else is in metric? I have no idea. I do not know. This has come from the testimony of Chris Cecil. Was the phone turned off? No. There's a big problem. Thank you. Cricket. Thank you. Yes. There's a massive problem. It's huge. Huge. People haven't realised. People haven't realised. Like the mainstream news haven't even recorded these figures. But I'm not aware of anybody who's tried to explain these numbers in relation to the state's theory or the defence's theory as well. It doesn't make sense to either of those theories. Because the defence's theory is that they were taken away. It's not 20 feet from the riverbed. It's not. There's no 20-foot increase from the riverbed. I've just said. I've just showed you. I'll show you again. So you've got to look. You've got to look down here at the elevation change. So in the middle of the creek, where the most likely place they would have crossed, according to the state's theory, is here. Right? End of bridge, crime scene, straight line. Right? And this is shallow here, and the bank is easy to climb. All right. So from the middle of the creek bed, you've got to look right down here at the elevation. And what we're looking at is the elevation change. So the numbers themselves don't matter. It's how they change. It's how much they change that is the issue. All right. So from the middle of the creek bed, we are at 168 meters. Get to the edge of the creek here, and we're still on 168 meters. We climb out of the creek. We get 169, so that's about 3.3 feet. So that's the bank. And then as we walk up towards the crime scene, we go up another meter. So we're on an incline, but it's only a gentle incline. And then as we get through the crime scene, it rises another meter. So as we get through the crime scene, we're on 171. So If you walked all the way through the crime scene, you've only risen by 3 meters, which is about 9.5 feet. So where's the 20 feet? And a phone is not going to register that as a flaw because it's too shallow an incline. The incline has got to be a sharp incline, like a steep hill, or your stairs. If you live in a house with stairs, a gradual incline, it ain't going to register as a flaw. So Libby's phone won't have registered from the creek bed to the crime scene as a flaw. So where is this 20-foot incline? Where is it? At 231 to 232. At the very point where the girls would have been killed, according to the state's theory. Because the phone was under Abby. That phone data is excluding info. The time it's happening or distance is missing. Something's missing. It doesn't make sense. I'm telling you, it doesn't make sense. So once again, just so I can show my handy dandy thing. So between 1:31, so the girls set off, right? You get dropped off at 1:48. Could be stairs, but where were they taken? Where were they taken? If they were taken to the barn, which had a second floor, which would be higher than a regular second floor. Right? Yeah, that makes sense, if that's true. If that's true, I mean, yeah, but plenty of barns have got second floors, and you go up by a ladder. So you're going up by a ladder, yeah, that's definitely going to register as a floor. And if it's more than 10 feet, you're up to the 20 feet, it'll register as 2 floors. So you can climb one ladder that's 20 foot high, it'll register as 2 floors. So there you go. Could be that. Could be that. That makes way more sense than the state's theory. Way more sense. So, dropped off at 1:48. They've already walked some to get out of Libby's house, right? So that we've got 700 meters or thereabouts to the middle of the bridge. That works. That works. We've no problem with that aspect. So we know that the measurements that phone is taking is approximately accurate. It's approximate. Then we've got this confusion that starts 414 meters between 208 and 225. We can explain 120 of those meters because from the middle of the bridge to off the end of the southern end of the southern end of the bridge, it's 120 meters. So we can explain it. Cool. So we've got 294 meters that were outstanding that we don't know where on earth that comes in, and then another 50 meters. So 344 meters we cannot explain. Then 2 floors climbed. We cannot explain 344 meters. Because if we were taking the state's theory, what's the distance from here to here? Well, all right. The distance from there to there, we'll do it in meters, is 160 something meters, 168 meters. So we've still got 180 meters to explain. They could have walked there and back. still have meters to spare. And this is what 294 meters looks like. Now, I don't mind, you know, being a few meters out, because nobody walks in an absolute straight line. Nobody. But isn't it interesting that the 294 meters takes us right to the opposite end of the Weber property? Where, oh, look, there's a barn. Oh, look, there's a barn. Nah. A barn, a house and a barn. And K. Weber was away. K. Weber was away. I'm sure there's loads of disused barns and stuff. I'm sure there are. I don't know. They could have been walked down here, put in a vehicle, walked along here, put in a vehicle. Doesn't quite explain all the meters, but it makes more sense than the state's theory, based on the data that the state's own witness testified to in court. All right, so I did some verification. Of what people actually said in court. All right. So I can take my full screen share off now, because it does bug me when I'm doing it that way. And we're going to play what the news said. So we've seen what Wish TV said. Wish TV just said the phone stopped moving at 2:32 and didn't give us any measures at all. WTHR gave us the 700 meters and then didn't give us anything else except for the 700 meters up to 208, and then the phone stopped moving at 2:32. Didn't give us anything else. Neither did Fox. So this is Fox News. All right, so I'm just going to play you a second or two from Fox News about what they picked up from that court, that testimony. So it's all the same guy, all the same testimony. Everybody's listening to the same guy, Chris Cecil. Everybody's listening to the same guy on the same day. Okay.
As she says, we've got to go down here. At 2:31 p.m., an app on the phone records a change in the phone's elevation, likely meaning that was as the girls were being marched either down to Deer Creek or up the opposite bank, where their bodies were found the next day. After 2:39 p.m., that phone, later discovered under Abby's body, never moves again.
So they're saying 2:39. This is Fox 59. So is it Russ McQuaid? He's been in court every day. So everybody's heard something slightly different. But I'm going to stick to 2:32. The reason why I'm going to stick to 2:32 is because Lawyer Lee heard 2:32. Andrea heard 2:32. Bob heard 2:32. Wish TV and WTHR all said 2:32. So Fox, I believe Fox is wrong. But this is their timeline. 2:05, the phone's pinged near the Mourne High Bridge, which makes sense. 2:14 bridge guy video. 2:31 starts moving. Well, no. It doesn't start moving. It's been moving the whole time. And then stops 8 minutes later. No, that's not what other people heard. And then that's not true either. 10:32 powers down. Well, how come it wakes back up and receives all of those texts? So I don't think Fox News are being deliberately, trying to distract or give the wrong information. Again, it's just what people are hearing in court, and not everybody's hearing the same thing. Unfortunately, there's going to be these discrepancies. So I'm going with what the majority say. So I'm going with the majority. But I just thought I'll fling that in just to show you that this is really problematic. It's so problematic that people are hearing different things. But I am going to go with 232, not 239. Do you know what I think it is? I think that because people are taking handwritten notes, and because hearing this is really difficult, everybody else heard the phone stop moving at 2:32 and 39 seconds. And then Fox have reported that it stopped moving at 2:39. So I think someone's notes maybe have been misread. So the actual time is 2:32 and 39 seconds, not 2:39. I think that's where Fox have got it wrong. So I don't think anybody is trying to be deliberately misleading. But my advice to you, if you're trying to follow the Delphi trial, use more than one source. Use several sources, because people are hearing different things, and people are then trying to make sense of their handwritten notes. And I'm going to go with the majority. All right, this is what Andrea said about this, the timeline. So the timeline of Chris Cecil's phone. This is a screen recording, so I can't make it. Guess I could do it like that. I just took a screen recording of this, so I can't make it full screen. All right, so this is what Andrea said.
Biometric data. Touch ID was enabled, and there were 3 biometric fingerprints saved. We don't know exactly whose, but that was in there. That gave me that flashback. Remember what Mr. Baldwin said in the opening about human hands? I wonder what that might be referring to. Through this extraction, he gets Apple Health ID. So this is what gives you the steps, the distance, and elevation changes. If you watch the Karen Reed trial, you certainly heard about this, about the Apple Health information. This is based on information that's aggregated from all kinds of different programs and apps. And then it's constantly running in the background, and Apple is synthesizing that information into this health data.
And you can't delete the Apple Health app. You can't delete it. You can hide it, but you can't delete it. And it's taking the information from all its internal workings. It has a gyroscope. It measures everything, and it puts it into its own little, I don't know, algorithm, and it works out how many steps you've walked, how many floors you've climbed, all of that stuff.
So it has an internal accelerometer and a gyrometer, and it uses that to calculate steps and elevation. It will also track the start and the stop times when the movements occurred. So based on that, he was able to make certain notations about the time period that we are all interested in, the time period on the bridge. So from about 1:30 to about 2:08 in the afternoon, the Apple Health data noted 1,682 steps.
So Andrea's recorded it as the number of steps, but it's about 700 meters. So 1,682 steps is about 700 meters.
Between 2:08 in the afternoon and 2:18 in the afternoon, this would include the time.
So she's got 2:08 to 2:18. Lawyer Lee had 2:08 to 2:25. So that's interesting.
Time period when Libby had video recorded, that down the hill video. It recorded traveling 414.38 meters.
So that's the same number that Lawyer Lee said, 414 point something meters. No, not 700 meters between 2:08 and 2:18. No, 700 meters between 131 and 208. Andrea says 414 meters between 208 and 218. Lee said 414 meters between 208 and 225. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters, but that's a fair distance. It's a fair distance to walk in either 10 or 15 minutes. That's the walk to the bridge. It isn't. The walk to the bridge is the 700 meters. That's the walk to the bridge. Between 208 and 218 or 25, depending on who you're listening to, you can only account for 120 of those meters, as I've explained earlier. You can only account for 120 of them. There's 294 meters you cannot explain based on the state's theory.
So not quite half a kilometer over that distance. From 2:31 to approximately 2:32 p.m., the Apple Health data showed a movement equivalent to 2 flights of stairs, an elevation change. It did not indicate whether it went up or whether it went down.
We know it went up. Now, I don't know whether Chris Cecil doesn't know, but based on my experiments and based on having an iPhone since iPhones began, I know that they record going up. When it's floors climbed, it means going up, not going down. So Andrea didn't catch the 50 meters between 225 and 231. So Lee said that between 225 and 231, there's an additional 50 meters that we've got to account for. Andrea didn't mention that. She went straight to the 231 to 232 floors climbed.
And then the 232 was the last record of movement of the phone, the steps, basically, last record of any kind of steps taken with the phone.
Right. So Andrea and Lee are almost the same. Almost the same. Except for Andrea didn't have that last 50 meters that Lee said happened. And Andrea is saying that the 414 meters was done in 10 minutes rather than 17 minutes. I don't think that matters, honestly. Now, here's what Bob said. So this is Bob from Defense Diaries. Again, it's the same witness on the same day. Same witness, same day. Okay, so this is what Bob heard.
On 2/13 of 17 at 14:08:48, that he was looking at steps that were taken. So he said at 13:31:40, which is 1:31:40, that steps were taken. Now, he said that there were 1,682 steps that were taken between 1:31:40 and 2:08:48.
Right, so that's exactly the same. So everybody's heard the same. So 1,682 steps between 1:31 and 2:08. Everybody's got that. 1,682 steps works out at about 700 meters. So everybody's the same. So we're all good. And we can explain those 700 meters. That's the walk to the bridge. From where they were dropped off to the center of the bridge is just under 700 meters. So we're all good. Oh, that makes absolute sense. It's everything else that does not make sense. All right. So let's see what Bob says after that.
Okay, so that's 1,682 steps. He then says at 2:08 that that there were 438 steps taken.
Now, so Bob is saying, so Andrea and Lawyer Lee both said that between 208 and either 218 or 225, it was 414 meters. Bob is saying that it was 438 steps. So do they mean the same thing? All right. Well, we can work out a number of steps approximately. So 438 steps in meters. Convert steps to meters. So one step is 0.76 meters. All right, 438 steps in meters. So 333 meters is 438 steps. So that's a discrepancy.
That stopped at 225.
So, but he's got the right time. He's got the right time, 208 to 225. And he says 438 steps. Let me just listen to that again.
That there were 438 steps taken.
438 steps.
And then he says that there were flights climbed. At 231.39, there was an elevation change. And that in terms of flights, it appeared that there had been 2 floors. So at that point, I believe that Cleveland asked him, oh, well, what does a flight equal? Like, how many feet is that? And dude's like, I don't know. It's like, he's like, well, you tried.
The phone guy expert can't even look at the Apple Health help page and work out that one floor is about 10 feet of a climb.
To calculate that, right? He's like, I think so. Like, I'm not trying to pick on Cecil. I'm really not, because I don't want to come across as like some kind of like deep.
No, he's an idiot. Cecil's an idiot. So, quite frankly, I'm not really trusting what Cecil is putting down. And I don't even think that Cecil is being deliberately manipulative or deliberately misleading. I just don't think he's very good at his job. Google reasons a phone will have additional steps. What do you mean? It will record steps. Let's say, for example, you are in a vehicle that is riding along something bumpy. It's going to record steps, but you can't say how many steps it will record. You can't give any reliable indicator on how many bumps it will pick up. So it's quite possible that some steps might have been recorded on the journey to the bridge. But what we absolutely cannot fathom is where all of these additional distances are coming from. Because it certainly doesn't make sense. It certainly does not make sense, absolutely does not make sense for them to have walked 414 meters. Or 438 steps even, which is less than 414 meters, but still, it's way further than the crime scene. It does not make sense. It seriously does not make sense. So let me just show the map again. Now you've heard Now you've got a good overall view of what several people have said. Oh, I want to show Yellow Jackets as well. Okay, get rid of that. So this is what Yellow Jacket has put together. So what Cecil says. So this is a complete timeline of what Cecil has said. Now, I don't know whether Yellow Jacket has got this from someone else who was in the court. I don't know if Yellow Jacket's been in the court. I don't know who she got this from. Because I know Yellow Jacket went to the 3-day hearing and her notes were really good. Her notes were really good. But anyway, this is from Yellow Jacket. So 12:01 to 1:31, no movement on the phone. 1:31 to 2:08, 1,682 steps or 707 meters. So everybody's agreed on that. Tick. Everyone's agreed on that. 1:38, phone is plugged in and a call is made. So presumably that'll be the call to Derek asking for a ride on the way, for a ride home. 1:41, Snapchat photo posted. That was in the Snapchat cache. And then 1:43, another Snapchat photo posted, girls in Kelsey's car, in the Snapchat cache. 1:48 to 1:49, that's approximately when they should have been getting dropped off. 2:05, Snapchat photo posted of the bridge in the Snapchat cache. Last time, phone was unlocked. Photo of Abby on bridge never found in the Snapchat cache. All right. Then 2:08 to 2:18, 414 meters. No mention of steps. Now, Bob heard steps being mentioned. Bob heard 438 steps. I'm wondering whether, similar to what Fox News did, I'm wondering whether Bob has misrepresented his notes, like unknowingly. You know, unknowingly, I believe Fox News said that the phone stopped moving at 2:39. Actually, everybody else heard 2:32 and 39 seconds. I'm wondering whether Bob has heard 438 and then just added steps, when actually what Chris Cecil really said was 414 meters, well, 414.38 meters. And Bob has heard it as 438. And then instead of adding meters, he's added steps. So I think the actual thing, we're going off the majority again, and the majority of people have said 414 meters. 120 of those meters we can explain. The rest we cannot. Okay. Why did he present data in meters this time versus steps? No idea. Why he's using meters at all as an American, I don't know. I think maybe it's because Google Earth uses meters. I don't know why Google Earth uses meters, it just does. All right. Okay. 2:13:51 to 2:14:34, bridge guide video. Geolocated near high school for first few seconds, then corrected itself to bridge area. And then 2:14:41, unsuccessful attempt to unlock the phone. Was that the killer trying to grab the phone? I don't know. No. Interesting. This is different. 2:18 to 2:25, no steps or movement. 2:18 to 2:25. Now, Lawyer Lee, her 414 meters took us into 2:25. So maybe that's Lawyer Lee mishearing. Maybe the actual time was 2:08 to 2:18. And that was 414 meters in 10 minutes. Where? How on earth in that area, where did they go? Because if they just went down the hill, it doesn't account for, it accounts for virtually none of those meters. So the state's case, the state claiming that he was trying to rape both of the victims near the private drive before he was spooked, doesn't make sense. Because where's all these meters coming from? If somebody's trying to rape you, where's all these meters coming from? Where did he take them? Right. Thank you. Let's have a look here. Suzette, thank you so much for the 399.99 South African Rand, I believe that is. Thank you so much, Suzette. What time did Rick Allen leave? He says he left the trails between 1:30 and 1:45. That's what he said. Where is everyone else's phone steps? Well, there's only Libby's phone for them to work with. Abby didn't have a phone, and in 2017, when Rick Allen gave his phone to Dan Dullard, like handed his phone to him, and Dan Dullard took the IMEI number, is that how you say it? That the unique identifier number of the phone, took that down, so actually handled Rick's phone, but then just didn't do anything with it for 5.5 years. So we don't have any data from Rick's phone to either count him in or count him out, because Dan Dullard did a rubbish job. And they didn't check anybody else's phones, I don't think. If they did, we haven't heard about it. So the only phone we've got to work with is Libby's phone. Check your earlier post. I think your calculations are off. Each step is 16 inches. I'm just going off what Google tells me. A step is about 2 foot to 2.5 feet. But depends on how tall you are and stuff. So the number of steps, trying to calculate the number of steps or how far a number of steps is very poor calculation. So I'd rather see a measurement, like in whatever. All right. So let's just look at the map one more time here, based on the state's theory. All right, so we've got 414 steps. No, I'm getting it wrong now. 414 meters between 208 and 218. All right. So we've got 120 meters from the middle of the bridge, 208. Abby stood here, right? End of the bridge, that's 120 meters. We then have 294 meters to account for. So we know that Libby stood here at 214. So between 208 and 214, this is how far they've gone. Because according to the state's own timeline, Libby stood here at 214 and took the bridge guy video. This is the southern end of the Monon High Bridge. Then in just 4 minutes, this gives us a 4-minute window for the girls to be marched 294 meters. 294 meters in 4 minutes. Where in the world does that make sense? And where in the world would he have taken them? Let's state's timeline, state's theory. Right? He's looking for a place to rape them. All right. So down the hill, over here, maybe away from the bridge. Well, that's nowhere near 294 meters. So down the hill, down we go. All right, let's do a little measure here. Do a little path. So guys, down the hill. All right, so we're going to go down the hill, and then maybe you walk some along here. How many is that? 173 meters. All right, okay. So where's the 120 meters? Where's the rest of the 120 meters? Where's that? He's going to have to walk 294 meters. He's going to have to go. He's going to have to go down the hill. He's going to have to go around here, all the way around here. I can't even walk that far now. I've gone off the page. Hold on. All right. So we've got to bear in mind that the crime scene's here. All right. So let's try again. So down the hill. So he goes down the hill. He walks them all the way around here. Walks all the way around here. 268 meters. Walks them all the way up here. He has to go there. I've gone too far, but about there. Really? Well, how did he get up here then? How did he get up there? In just 50 meters. Because we've got an additional 50 meters to factor in. All right, well, let's go from there to the crime scene. How far is that? Oh, that's 224 meters. So that doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. All right. Okay. So, according to the state's theory, gets disturbed. All right, gets disturbed. 225 to 232. 50.64 meters and 2 flights. So, 20-foot elevation change. Unclear exactly when elevation change happened in this 7-minute range. Well, we heard from Lawyer Lee and Andrea, I believe, that it was 231 to 232 that we had this elevation change. So state claims this 7-minute and 66 steps is walking to creek, crossing the creek, climbing embankment and watching 50 yards into the woods where killed one and the other while the victim was unrestrained. Did they actually know where they crossed the creek? No, but we know where the clothes were found. So you would assume that they crossed at that point. And then 232 and 232 and 39 seconds last time the phone logged any steps or movement. So the clothes were found about like here-ish. So if you look at the creek, now this is from 2017. If you look at the creek, you've got this jutty outy bit, looks like a fallen tree or something. They were around this area. And the creek is really shallow there. I don't know whether they were on there or there, but in this area, so very close to the crime scene. So if they crossed there and then went to the crime scene, that makes more sense. It's the 294 meters that makes 0 sense. Right, so if they crossed there and then went to the crime scene, that's 80 meters. So it's closer. Across there. That's quite close. Ooh. So we don't know exactly where they crossed. 60 meters. It's getting closer. We don't know where they crossed. We don't know when they crossed. So we've got a huge amount of distance that makes zero sense. We've got 294 meters, or 344 meters if you add in that extra 50 meters. And it's just interesting that it takes us right the way to the back of the Weber property. It's just interesting. That's all. I'm just saying it's interesting. Saying nothing else except it's interesting. It's also interesting that Brad Weber has now changed the timeline that we've known almost since day one. He's now changed that timeline. Isn't that interesting? Do I think the girls could have been dancing on the bridge? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. It's not going to add in a great number of steps, though, is it? And if there's a guy following them, I don't think they're going to be dancing on the bridge when there's a guy following them. Paul who? Paul Etter's property. I don't know who that is. Does a phone track steps, etc. in aeroplane mode? I think it does, yeah. I've never tested it, but it doesn't need an internet connection to track steps, and the health app isn't relying on an internet connection. If you turn the phone off completely, then it doesn't track anything. Yeah, they could have been put in a vehicle, and if that vehicle was moved over bumpy ground, like, you know, woodland, like if they use like an ATV or something, or a, you know, truck, chucked them in the back of a truck, and it was bumpy, then it would record some steps. But how many, we've got no idea. Did Elvis Fields drive? I don't know. But Elvis lied about his alibi. He lied about his alibi. The man who was a suspect and who killed himself during a police standoff at his home. Where is his property on the map? I don't know who that is. If you tell me where that, right? Paul Etter. Hold on, I'll look him up. Just stop sharing that a minute. Paul Etter, Delphi. All right, okay. All right. Paul Etter killed himself June 27th during a standoff while surrounded by police officers on a county road north of Lebanon. Now his life is under a law enforcement microscope. His name has come up through the process, Carroll County Sheriff Tobe Lazenby said when asked Friday if detectives were investigating to determine whether Etter is the killer of the teenagers. Libby, that's it. I feel kind of shady blaming him. Lesenby qualified his comment by noting that detectives have investigated every possible suspect, which is no different than their probe into Etta. Police suspect Etta abducted a 26-year-old woman early June 22nd in eastern Tippecanoe County. I said her on his family's farm before releasing her. Evaded police in a massive search between Tippecanoe County, so not in Carroll County. Handcuffed her and put her in his car, driving her to his family's farmstead on County Road 750 East. All right, let's look up that. All right, so it's giving me Hardinsburg or Francisco or Needham. Well, let's do Lebanon. It says Lebanon. Give me that. Let's do Lebanon. Stop it. Towards Delphi. Oh, it's quite a ways away. 40 miles. $40 away from Delphi. But 5-hour standoff. 5-hour standoff. Wow. Wonder what happened. When was that? What year was it? Gonna have a year here? No. Not gonna bother with a year. No, we're not bothering with a year. Oh, Lafayette kidnapping. Oh, a kidnapping and rape suspect. Just north of Lebanon. It's about 40 miles away. 2019. Okay. Cops should have gotten search warrants for all property owners' houses and outbuildings. They need probable cause, though, to get a search warrant. So they have to have probable cause that that property is going to contain something potentially relevant. They can't just get search warrants for all the properties in an area just because. So was he suspected because of other crimes? Yeah, probably. I would imagine. And that vaguely looks a little bit like Bridge Guy. Just like everybody looks a little bit like Bridge Guy. Yeah, BG could have been simply giving directions. He absolutely could have. He totally could have been giving directions. We've got no evidence whatsoever that whoever that guy was, he was the one who killed them. We have no idea. We've no idea. This is how crazy it is. We've no idea whether the man that we see is the man who said guys down the hill. And we've got no idea whether the man that said guys down the hill is the killer. He could literally have been giving them directions. We don't know. So it doesn't help, does it? Hugely courageous thing for Libby to have done. But it doesn't help us, does it? TNT reckons Betsy Blair's involved. Who's TNT? I don't think Betsy Blair's involved, no. Betsy Blair is just somebody who likes exercising. And they know exactly when her car arrived. They know when it left. They know when it arrived again. And they know when it left. I don't think Betsy Blair's involved. I really don't. Did Richard Allen take a lie detector test before he went crazy? Not that we've heard of. Not that anybody's ever mentioned. Is it possible that phone was dropped in that spot as they passed through? It's possible, but how come Abby's body was found on the phone? It seems a huge coincidence that if the phone was dropped accidentally and then Libby is found dead on top of it, I mean, that's somewhat of a coincidence. How did the killer know the girls would be there to begin with? Again, we don't know. Again, we've no idea. That's why the Anthony Shots information seemed relevant. It absolutely seemed relevant that's the way that they got the girls there. But also you've got to remember that Abby was the girlfriend of Logan Holder. So Logan Holder might have known that Abby was going to go there. So I'm not saying Logan Holder's involved. I'm just saying that somebody could have used Logan Holder's phone or Logan Holder's account of some kind to get Abby there. So there are people connected to this case that are not being allowed to be mentioned in court who absolutely have connections with the girls and are way more likely to have had that connection with the girls on that day and have been used to get the girls there. That makes way more sense than Richard Allen turning up after visiting his parents for the morning, and instead of going out for lunch with them, he gets a 6-pack of beer and decides to go and rape 2 girls, and he gets disturbed by a van, so instead of raping them, he decides to murder them instead. Normally, when an offender, sexual or otherwise, gets disturbed, they run away. That's the normal thing that they do. They get disturbed, they run away. They don't stick around. They don't stick around and kill them and then put sticks on them and redress one of the victims. So get scared away. This is insane. Get scared away. So instead of raping them, decides to kill them, which is a huge jump. That's a bit of a leap, right? And then instead of running away at that point, decides to move Libby, 200 pound weight, move her from where she died to about 10 to 20 feet away from where she died, and then redress Abby. How long is that going to take? How long will it take to redress a dead person? It's that person is not going to help you, put their clothes on, they're not going to be able to, move their legs for you. So it makes it easier. Thank you, Teresa, for the $5. If anybody figures this out, it will be me. Listen, I am absolutely I am confused. The more we hear from this trial, the more confusing it gets. It should start to become clear that, you know, that usually what happens at a trial is that the state puts a case, and even if you were thinking, oh, this guy could be innocent, or you're completely neutral, by the end of the state's case, you've got a really good idea of what happened, and the state have told you what happened, and there might be a few, you know, little bits and pieces that they don't know, but that's inconsequential, and they've made their case. And then somebody can, you know, can say, right, okay, they did get the right guy. I wasn't sure at first, but they got the right guy. Thank you, Lisa, for being a member for 23 months. One more month and you get your OG badge. Teenage girls were going to meet someone. I think they were. I think they were. I think they were. But that's just my opinion. We've no proof of it. I mean, look. Murdoch. The Murdoch case from South Carolina. I was completely neutral going into Murdoch. Like I knew what had happened kind of briefly. I'd never really looked into it in any depth. I knew the Murdoch family were a bunch of big shots. I knew about the lad that was murdered. Well, we don't even know if he was murdered. Stephen. I knew about the boat case. I knew a little bit about the boat case, not very much. Went into the Murdoch trial completely and totally neutral. And partway through the state's case, I started to think, I'm fancying this guy as being the killer. The thing that tipped me over the edge, the thing that if I'd have been on the jury would have given me the beyond a reasonable doubt, was the kennel video. The fact that Alex lied about the kennel video was like, nah, come on now, son. There were still things outstanding, though. There were still things that the state did not tell us, like they never found the claws, they didn't find the weapons, but it didn't matter because they'd done enough. It made sense. The state's case made sense. It didn't make sense to every single person. It didn't make sense to everyone, but it gave us enough. Gave me enough. If I'd have been on the jury, I'd have been able to say, yeah, I believe he did it. But with this case, the state has now presented their entire case, and I am even less convinced that Richard Allen did it. Even less convinced than I was that Richard Allen did it, because it's become more confusing, not less. And that is completely arse about face. That's not how a trial should go. Wasn't Libby's phone reset? We've heard that it was reset a week previous. Something to do with I don't know. Is Kyle okay? Was that him shouting? No, that was Noodle yawning. Noodle's come in and just done this massive yawn. He has this really loud yawn. He really makes it known when he's tired. I wonder if the holders know Brad Webber. There's too many Brads. There's too many Brads. There's too many Brads. The Karen Reid case was another one that the state just did not, in my opinion, just did not prove their case. They didn't. And I went into that case knowing some stuff. Like, I'd never really done a massive deep dive into the Karen Reid case, but I'd done enough. I knew enough to know that I didn't believe that Karen was the one that killed John O'Keefe. But by the end of the state's case, I was even less convinced that Karen had done anything to John. But this one is even worse than the Karen Reid case. This one is just insane. None of the details make sense. The details that were given don't make sense. And I don't know how this jury is going to be able to give a guilty verdict. I think it's... I think this is going to be a hung jury, honestly. Thank you, Mace Mama, for the $1.99. Thank you, thank you. Karen Reid on steroids. It so is. Karen Reid Halloween edition. Yeah. No. It's just sat there yawning and yawning and yawning. Why he just can't lie down and go to sleep? Maybe I'm making too much noise. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe that's what he's come to tell me. But anyhow, I'm going to go. I don't want to make this too long. And then it's watchable on the replay. And I think we're just kind of chatting now. So I'm going to go at this point. So we've had like 1,300 people in chat. How many likes do we have? If you've not liked the stream, like it on your way out. It just helps with the algorithm. It'll help us push this out there to the replay viewers. I'm just going to do just a quick look for Delphi news. I don't think they'll have had the morning break yet, honestly. But just before we go... no, it doesn't look like they've had the morning break yet. All right. No. All right. I'm going to let you go. Don't think we've got anything. Yeah, latest from Bob was 2 hours ago. So, all right. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you. And yeah, let's keep digging. Anyone seen Doug Carter recently? He gave evidence on Saturday. By giving evidence, it means he was called to the stand for like 5 minutes. He was a state's witness for like 5 minutes. No, defense witness. We're in the defense case now. Yeah, the defense called him to the stand to ask him why he'd banned the FBI. Why he'd banned the FBI from being the core partners in the case. Doug Carter, honestly. He's a little bit of a laughing stock now, isn't he? But thank you all. Thanks, mods. Thanks to those that donated. You've been incredibly generous. And welcome to all the new members. And let's keep digging. Let's keep going. Let's see what today brings. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll speak to you very soon. Bye, guys.